reasons why it's not, but I can't imagine, because we have a lot of great things happening. It's been a very strong week and a very strong weekend. Before we begin, let me say a few words about the historic events that took place over the last few days. On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons. And they were going at it hot and heavy, and it was seemingly not going to stop. And I'm very proud to let you know that the leadership of India and Pakistan was unwavering, powerful, but unwavering in both cases, and having these, they really were, from the standpoint of having the strength and the wisdom and fortitude to fully know and to understand the gravity of the situation. And we helped a lot. And we helped also with trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India. We're negotiating with India right now. We're going to be soon negotiating with Pakistan. And we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war. Millions of people could have been killed. So I'm very proud of that. I also want to thank Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio for their work and efforts. They worked very hard on that. We also, as you know, created a situation where the Houthis, for the first time ever, have ceased firing, and they've let it be known that they're not going to be firing at American ships anymore, not going to be firing at Americans anymore. This was a heavy barrage that lasted for approximately 50 days. And as you know, they've been in war essentially for forever. But over the last 10 years, they've been very difficult for other countries. Nobody was able to do what we did. But they stopped, and we take their word for it. Their surrogates and them directly said, we don't want to do this anymore. And so we were satisfied with that. In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue in the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs, because they don't want to pay 25, 50, or 100% tariffs, so they're moving them back to the United States. I spoke to Tim Cook this morning, and he's going to, I think, even up his numbers, $500 billion. He's going to be building a lot of plants in the United States for Apple, and we look forward to that. I really do look forward to that. But the talks in Geneva were very friendly. The relationship is very good. We're not looking to hurt China. China was being hurt very badly. They were closing up factories. They were having a lot of unrest. And they were very happy to be able to do something with us. And the relationship is very, very good. I'll speak to President Xi maybe at the end of the week. We have some other things we're doing. But one of the biggest things that we're doing, and I don't know if people realize this, but we made a great deal with China, great trade deal. But it was a much bigger deal originally, and then they canceled it right in the last day. Some of you faces I remember were there when that happened. I remember you. And we had a deal where they opened up their country to trade with the United States. And they took that away at the last moment, and then I canceled the whole thing. And then 6 months later, we ended up doing a smaller deal, but it was a big deal. It was $50 billion worth of product that they were going to purchase from our farmers, etc. And we agreed to that. People thought it was 15 because they were doing 15. We made it 50 because I misunderstood the 15. I said, you got to get 50. Because when I asked, if you remember the story, when I asked, what are we doing with them? My Secretary of Agriculture at the time, Sonny Perdue, said, sir, it's about 15 billion and we're asking for 15. And I thought he said 50. So I said, so they came back with the deal at 15. And I said, no way, I want 50 because you said 50. They said, sir, we didn't say that. Anyway, bottom line, I said, go back and ask for 50. And they gave us 50. And they were honoring the deal. And we would call them up a lot for the corn and for the wheat and for everything. They were honoring the deal. And then when Biden got in, they no longer honored the deal. There was nobody to call. I would call on an average of once every 2 weeks to say, come on, you have to speed it up a little bit. And our farmers were doing great. I said to them, buy more land and bigger tractors, if you remember. That's what happened. But the deal was a very good deal. But the best part of the deal was that we opened up China. China agreed to open itself up to American business to go in. And it would have been a great thing, I think, for China. They would be able to see things that they haven't seen. They would be able to buy products that they have never been able to buy. Would have been great for American business. I think it would have brought unity between China, better unity between China and the United States. And the bottom line is that they canceled it the last day. We were all set to sign it, and I went a little bit angry. I got a little angry. I said, they canceled the deal. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed. And people went over, they came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening up China, and they've agreed to do that. But it's going to take a while to paper it. You know, that's not the easiest thing to paper. But that's the single, I think, to me, some people would disagree. Some people would say we're getting a lot of money with tariffs or whatever. But, you know, especially when you add what we already have. Because remember, we're already getting the 50% on steel and different things. That's not included in these numbers. So you can add that. But the biggest thing to me is the opening up. I think it would be fantastic for our businesses if we could go in and compete with China. It would be a lot of jobs for China. It would be, I think, at a time where they can frankly use the jobs. And that's what we're talking about. So that's a very, very important element to add. So when Scott, I watched him speak the other day, and I think he didn't want to say it, but I said, it's okay to say it. Look, if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if we don't get it, it won't be a positive thing. But if we do get it, I think it's maybe the most important thing to happen. Because if you think about it, we opened up our country to China. They have very few restrictions. And they didn't open their country to us. Never made sense to me. It's not fair. And they've agreed to open China, fully open China. And I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us. And I think it's going to be great for unification and peace. China will also suspend and remove all of its non-monetary barriers. They've agreed to do that. While they're very numerous. But again, to me, the biggest thing that
Trump is making a big announcement today.
Agreed to open up China.
The biggest announcement ever, he says.
And third, I'm very happy to announce that Deion Alexander, an American citizen who until recently most thought was no longer living, thought was dead.
Wow.
Is going to be released in about 2 hours, actually. And he's going to be
the like button isn't working?
Before the eyes of Steve Witkoff, who's done a fantastic job. I know a lot of people that have a lot of talent. I know Steve, he had a lot of talent. But I know a lot of people with a lot of talent, but there's one that I thought had a special way about him, special personality. Aside from being a good deal maker, had a special way about him, and it was Steve. Knew very little about the subject matter, who does? But he learned it in about 2 hours. And he's been fantastic, so I want to just thank Steve. But they're going to be releasing be done in about 2 hours from now, or sometime today, let's say. And again, they thought Hamas since October 7th, 2023, and he's coming home to his parents, which is really great news. I mean, to me, it's big news. They thought he was dead. So that's it. So we'll be heading there, and we'll be seeing 3 primary countries. You know all about that: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. On Thursday's meeting with Russia and Ukraine is very important. I was very insistent that that meeting take place. I think good things can come out of that meeting. Stop the bloodshed of the horrible, it's a bloodbath. But that 5,000 more, it's really much more, trying to be conservative, more than 5,000 soldiers. Russian, they're not American soldiers, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine, but they're people. They're human souls, and they're being killed at levels that we haven't seen since the Second World War. And it's every week. A lot of drone fighting. It's a whole new form of warfare, and it's violent and vicious. And so that's it. I'd like to go back to China just for a second. They're very heavy on the fentanyl. We're charging them, as you know, 20% for the fact that they send fentanyl into our country. And they've agreed that they're going to stop that. And, you know, they'll be rewarded by not having to pay, hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. So the fentanyl should stop. It comes from China. It's amazing. And comes through our southern border, comes through our northern border too, comes through Canada, and comes through our southern border, much more through the southern border. But so that's a very important subject to me, because everybody in this room has lost friends or people that have family members that have died of fentanyl. So there's a big incentive for China to stop, and I take them at their word. They're going to work on that, I think, very hard. And one thing, when they work on something, they get it done. So now I'm about to depart on a historic visit. Some of you are going with us to, as I said, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. Before I do, I'll sign one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this, certainly not with respect to healthcare, nothing even close. I'm delighted to be joined on this occasion by Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is doing a really good job, I have to tell you that. The CMS Administrator, a friend of mine, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is an amazing guy. You know, I was telling Bobby before, Oz had a very successful show, but it hurt his reputation. Because when you're in show business, it hurts your reputation a little bit. It's good for you, but in terms of professionalism and being a doctor, it sort of hurts your reputation. This guy went to the best schools, was the best, top of the line. Then he did a television show, became a success. Made a lot of money,
Monday
all that
to you.
stuff.
Thank you, Happy
sort
Mac.
of hurt him. And you know who I compare that to? I hate to say this, but a special woman, Jeanine Pirro. She was the toughest, smartest DA, maybe in our countries, in our cities and states history, New York. She was really tough, really sharp. Then she did a show, and people didn't think of her quite the same way. She became more of an entertainment person, like Oz. Oz is not an entertainer. He's not really an entertainer. You know the real story, and she isn't either. She is unbelievable. She was one of the strongest district attorneys in the history of New York, highly respected, very tough, went after the drug dealers at a level that you don't see today anymore, and hopefully she's given up she's leaving the #1 show on cable television, one of the #1 shows on television, period, The Five, but they've got great people left behind, but she was a big part of it. And so I equated to that. Jeanine Pirro is unbelievable. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, with a reputation that's second to none, and the job he's doing already has been fantastic. Thank you, Marty. And Director of National Institute of Health, Jay Bhattacharya, who has been, as you know, from Stanford, so highly regarded, and have all been working with us very hard on this. And the question they would ask, being a little bit new to the government aspect of it, is why doesn't somebody fight the drug price situation, meaning equalization? There's a term, it's called equalization. Nobody wants to mention that term. And I'm not knocking the drug companies. I'm really more knocking the countries than the drug companies, because they're forced to do things. But the drug lobby is the strongest lobby in this country. They said, the drug lobby. It's between that and lawyers. And they have a lot of power. But starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries, which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what, for the same drug, that what we pay many, many times more for. And we'll no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging from Big Pharma. But again, it was really the countries that forced Big Pharma to do things that, frankly, I'm not sure they really felt comfortable doing. But they've gotten away with it, these countries. European Union has been brutal. And the drug companies actually told me stories. It was just brutal how they forced them. And European Union suing all our companies, Apple, Google, Meta. They're suing all of our companies. They end up, they have judges that are European Union centric, and they get rewarded 15 billion, 17 billion, 20 billion, and they use that to run their operation. Not going to happen any longer, that I can tell you. So what's been happening is we've been subsidizing other countries throughout the world, not just in Europe, throughout the world. European Union was the most difficult from what I understand. I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. So, President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I paid $1,300. What the hell is going on? He said, so I checked. And it's the same box, made in the same plant, by the same company. It's the identical pill that I buy in New York. And here I'm paying $88 in London. In New York, I'm paying $1,300. Now, this is a great businessman, but he's not familiar with this crazy situation that we have. But he was stunned. But it was just one of those stories. And I brought it up with the drug companies, represented by somebody who's very, very smart, good person too. And we argued about it for about half hour. And then finally he just said, because they can't justify it, he just said, look, you got me. I can no longer they've been justifying this crap for years. They said, oh, it's research and development. Well, I said, well, research and development, other countries should pay research and development too. It's for their benefit. It was just one of those things. And the other countries would set a price, and they'd meet the price, and they'd say, if you don't meet the price, you can't sell it in our country. I said, well, then you walk away, and they'll call you back and they'll sell it in the country. But now they'll have to do that. So for the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs, and we will bring fairness to America. Drug prices will come down by much more, really, if you think 59. If you think of a drug that is sometimes 10 times more expensive, it's much more than the 59%. It depends on the way you want to analyze it, but in one way you could analyze it that way. But between 59 and 80, and I guess even 90%. So when I worked so hard in the first term, and if I got prices down, I remember I was the only one to ever get prices down for a full year, but I'd get them down like 2%, and I thought it was like a big deal. Well, we're getting them down 60, 70, 80, 90%, but actually more than that if you think about it.
Thank you.
Farmer has to say, we're sorry, but we'll not be able to do this any longer to these
Thank you, Tigers.
countries that have been so tough. They've been very tough, nasty. It's trade. It's trade. And Farmer is also very powerful. And the Democrats have protected Farmer. The Democrats, this is the Democrats that protected Farmer. These are the Democrats. And by the way, I just called the Speaker of the House, and I just called the leader, our leader in the Senate, John Thune, Mike Johnson. Spoke to both of them. I said, when you score, you're going to have to score two things. You're going to have to, number one, score that hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff money is coming in. But even bigger than that, you're going to have to score that your cost for Medicaid and Medicare and just basically pharmaceuticals and drugs is going down at a level that nobody has ever seen before. It'll pay for the Golden Dome. I see the Golden Dome is there, see? That'll easily pay for the Golden Dome. And we'll have a lot of money left over. We need the Golden Dome, by the way, in this world. Although this world's a lot safer today than it was a week ago. And a lot safer than it was 6 months ago. We had people that had no clue what they were doing. So today Americans spend 70% more for prescription drugs than we spent in the year 2000. Think of that. Our country has the highest drug prices anywhere in the world by sometimes a factor of 5, 6, 7, 8 times. It's not like they're slightly higher. They're 6, 7, 8 times. There are even cases of 10 times higher. So that you go 10 times more expensive for the same drug, that's big numbers. Even though the United States is home to only 4% of the world's population, pharmaceutical companies make more than 2/3 of their profits in America. So think of that. With 4% of the population, the pharmaceutical companies make most of their money, most of their profits from America. That's not a good thing. Now, I think, by the way, I have great respect for these companies and for the people that run them. I really do. And I think they did one of the greatest jobs in history for their company, convincing people for many years that this was a fair system. And nobody really understood why, but I figured it out. For years, pharmaceutical and drug companies have said that research and development costs were what they are, and for no reason whatsoever. They had to be borne by America alone. Not anymore, they don't. This means American patients were effectively subsidizing socialist healthcare systems in Germany, in all parts of the European Union. They were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that with trade too. European Union is in many ways nastier than China. Okay? And we've just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards. They treated us very unfairly. They sell us 13 million cars. We sell them none. They sell us their agricultural products. We sell them virtually none. They don't take our products. That gives us all the cards. And very unfair. So they're going to have to pay more for health care, and we're going to have to pay less. That's all it is. And believe it or not, because it's really the world we're talking about, not just the European Union, but because it's the world, the numbers are for the healthcare company not as bad as you would think. They'll make the same. I think the healthcare companies should make pretty much the same money. I really don't believe they should be affected very much because it's just a redistribution of wealth. It's a redistribution where it could be the same top line, but it's going to be distributed differently. Europe's going to have to pay a little bit more. The rest of the world's going to have to pay a little bit more, and America's going to pay a lot less. Again, because it's a much smaller population than when you think of the whole world. So basically what we're doing is equalizing. There's a new word that I came up with, which I think is probably the best word. We're going to equalize. We're all going to pay the same. We're going to pay what Europe's going to pay. We're going to all pay. Now, there may be some countries in dire need, and I would be willing to sacrifice that, and help them. But it's called most favored nation. We're going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get it. Whoever is paying the lowest price That's the price that we're going to get. So remember that. So we're no longer paying 10 times more than another country. Whoever is paying the lowest price, we will look at that price and we will say that's the price we're going to pay. Most favored nations, that's what it is. One breast cancer drug costs Americans over $16,000 per bottle, but the same drug from the same factory, manufactured by the same company, is 1/6 that price in Australia and 1/10 that price in Sweden. 1/10 for the identical product. A common asthma drug costs almost $500 here in America, but costs less than $40 in the United Kingdom. So $40 in the United Kingdom, which is where this gentleman told me he paid a small amount for his shot. But think of that. So $40 versus $500 here. That's not even bad. There are much worse examples. And the weight loss drug, Ozempic, costs 10 times more in the United States than in the rest of the developed world. 10 times more. Why? Why? What did we do? Suckers. But we never had a president that had the courage to do this. And nobody knew the system like I do. I mean, I've gotten to know this system so well. And I don't think it's fair that it benefits Obamacare. Obamacare is a failure. It's not a good health care. It works. I made it work. I had an obligation to make it work, or an obligation to let it die. I chose that we had to make it work. I had to make it as good as possible. And I had a choice. I could have let it fail or make it as good as possible. As good as possible means it was still not very good, but it survived. And we did the right thing. But this makes everything work. And I don't want to have a bad form of healthcare work because of the fact I was able to cut drug prices by 80 or 90%. So we're going to maybe come up with something. I think this gives the Republicans a chance to actually do a healthcare that's much better than Obamacare and for less money, which if you guys would work on that along with Congress. But I do want to say that Democrats could have done this a long time ago. They have fought like hell for the drug companies, and they knew they were doing the wrong thing. And it's going to be very hard. I was just telling the leader and the speaker that it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to vote against the one big, beautiful deal. The greatest tax cuts in history, greatest everything, but now you have the big drug prices because that's going to be included. It makes that whole situation different from a scoring standpoint. I just told them, I called them up about this. I said, I'm going to do something that's going to be very monumental, and you're going to be scoring. You better tell your people that this is going to score really well. And then add hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs to your list also. But as big as the tariffs are, this is something that really hits quickly. 5 years ago, I signed an executive order to confront this disaster, but only confront it in a minor way. It was a good confrontation, but never to this extent. It took people a little while to understand a very complicated system. But Joe Biden, without any knowledge of what he was doing, terminated the policy and then pretended to negotiate under a new system. And then you take a look, 5 out of the 10 drugs that he negotiated are now over 200% more expensive in America than the rest of the world, and far more expensive than when he even got involved. Much more expensive than when he got involved. Joe Biden's plan was as you know, because you wrote about it, you don't say it very loudly, but it was a very big failure, was his whole presidency. First, I'm directing the U.S. trade representatives and Department of Commerce to begin investigations into foreign nations that extort drug companies by blocking their products unless they accept bottom line and very low dollar amounts for their product, unfairly shifting the cost burden onto American patients. And we'll be taking a look at that very strongly. The biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to tell those countries, like those represented by the European Union, that, that game is up, sorry. And if they want to get cute, then they don't have to sell cars into the United States anymore. It's a very big subject. And they won't get cute, because I'll defend the drug companies from that standpoint. They were given a price by the European unions and other countries. This is what you do. This is what we're going to pay. We're not going to pay any more. Let America pay the difference because there was a big shortfall. Let America pay it. And that's what we did, but we're not doing it anymore. Next, my administration will secure what we're calling most favored nations drug pricing. The principle is simple. Whatever the lowest price paid for a drug in other developed countries, that is the price that Americans will pay. And we're using the term other developed countries because there are some countries that need some additional help, and that's fine. I think that's very good. Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by
Great.
50 to 80 to 90%. Big
That's a great
Pharma will
deal.
either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries. To accelerate these price restrictions and reductions, my administration will also cut out the middlemen. We're going to totally cut out the famous middlemen. Nobody knows who they are, middlemen. I've been hearing the term for 25 years, middlemen. I don't know who they are, but they're rich. That I can tell you. We're going to cut out the middlemen and facilitate the direct sale of drugs at the most favored nation price directly to the American citizen. So we're cutting out probably the middlemen. It's so important, right? They got to do that. They're worse than the drug companies. They don't even make a product, and they make a fortune. It's very smart business people, that I can tell you. If companies make no significant progress toward most favored nation pricing, which we will insist that they do, so I think I'm wasting time talking about it. We're going to insist upon it. And we'll insist, and we're going to help the drug companies with the other nations, because those other nations do a lot of trading with us. They need our trade just like China needed us very badly. They need us just as badly. We will do whatever we have to with trade, just like we did some great things with trade with India and Pakistan. It really helped the situation, very heated situation. Could have lost millions of people, more than millions, I mean, many millions of people. And they want to do business with America, but we never used our powers that way. We never knew how. We never had people that knew how to do that. We'll also open up America's market to safe and legal imports of affordable drugs from other countries, putting dramatic downward pressure on prices. And if necessary, we'll investigate the drug companies, and we'll, in particular, investigate the countries that are doing this, and we will add it onto the price that we charge them for doing business in America. In other words, we'll add it onto tariffs if they don't do what is right, which is everybody should equalize, everybody should pay the same price. And special interests may not like this very much, but the American people will. I'm doing this for the American people. I'm doing this against the most powerful lobby in the world, probably the drug lobby, drug and pharmaceutical lobby. But it's one of the most important orders, I think, that's ever been signed, certainly with regard to healthcare or health in the history of our country, and it's an honor to be a part of it. And I'd like to ask Robert F. Kennedy to say a few words, please.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator in Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million, but he can't be bought. Unlike
Can't
most
be
of the
bought.
politicians in this country.
Can't be bought.
And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on the side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people. We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. We spend in our country $1,126 per capita on drugs. In Britain, they spend about $240. They spend
wow.
1/5 of what we do. And
Wow.
this is true across Europe. And the drug companies, Europeans, if you ask them, it made no sense what they were saying. America has to pay for this innovation or it's not going to happen. What President Trump is saying to our European partners is you've got to raise the amount that you're paying for those drugs and pay for your share of the innovation. That the United States is no longer subsidizing that. If the Europeans raise the price of their drugs by just 20%, that is $10 trillion that can be spent on innovation, and the health of all people all across the globe is going to increase because we're going to have better products. So I'm just so grateful to be here today. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime. I have a couple of kids who are Democrats, are big Bernie Sanders fans, and when I told them that this was going to happen, they had tears in their eyes because they thought this is never going to happen in our lifetime, and we finally have a president who is willing to stand up for the American people. Thank you, and Dr. Oz.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy. This is the most powerful executive order on pharmacy pricing and healthcare ever in the history of our nation. And it's only happening because we have a president with the fortitude, the guts to stand up to the withering criticism and lobbying that's going to occur as soon as folks hear about the executive order. So on behalf of the child in Philadelphia who's got an autoimmune disease with a $1,000 a month drug, or the older woman in Los Angeles who's on a blood thinner who can't afford her copay, I want to thank President Trump. God bless you for having the guts to take on this industry. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about the details a little bit. And this is primarily about equalization, as President Trump said. It's about fairness. Think of NATO as a metaphor. When President Trump said, you've got to pay a little more so it makes sense for all of us, they came up. And the European countries contributed. The same thing we believe will happen in this situation. Most people who have thought about this process agree that it is patently unfair to tolerate the numbers that Secretary Kennedy and President Trump have reflected to you. On this chart to my left is a list of the 10 drugs that were negotiated in the IRA. Again, this is the bill, the law, that regulates a negotiation process. This is the best price that was able to be obtained by the Biden administration. And if you look at these numbers, they actually reflect how much on top of the most favored nation price was being paid by the United States. So the closest to me, Bob, you can point to the Jardians, the closest one, 289%, the one that's closest to you. That means that we are paying in America 4 times more than that drug costs in other countries. Again, 100% is the baseline. It's 289% above that baseline. It goes all the way down to where we're paying 50% more than any other country. That's the range. As was pointed out by President Trump, half the time we're paying 3 times more than we're paying in other countries. It doesn't make any sense for the system. That stated, President Trump has over and over again indicated, and Secretary Kennedy reflected as well, we want innovation. We want our technology partners doing the best they can to make the best solutions for drugs that cure as many people in America and around the world as possible. By getting our allies to pay a bit more as they should be, and they should have for many years been doing, will course correct a problem that's gotten out of hand. And by doing that in a thoughtful, effective way, we're going to be able to get the pharmaceutical industry whole. Those jobs will still be here, will still be productive, will still be curing cancer and a slew of other ailments that plague humanity. America will still be the leader in this space, but we're paying the appropriate amount, the right-sized amount for those tasks. So over the next 30 days, the four of us up here, together with people standing in the back of this room, we're doing a lot of the heavy lifting, are going to be approaching pharmaceutical companies to talk specifically about what we want the most favored nation price to be based on the best data we have. We're looking forward to a thoughtful interaction with these corporate leaders, many of whom we've spoken to and in quiet will agree the system is not right the way it is. They're patriotic Americans, they want what's right. But the fact that in my lifetime, as Secretary Kennedy said, for the first time, we have a thoughtful and aggressive approach thanks to President Trump, on taking on the special interests, should give all Americans confidence that this is an administration that stands for fairness and should chill the waters for those who believe they can push us away from our North Star, which is to take care of the American people. Mr. President, God bless you. Jay, you want to go next? Sure.
So I teach economics at Stanford as well as health policy. And one thing that's really, really simple in economics is that when you have a persistent price difference for the same product between two countries, there's something deeply wrong. And what President Trump has done is a historic measure that should have been done a long time ago. What we're going to do is make sure that those prices become much closer to equal, like a competitive market you expect. Right now what's happening is the American people are subsidizing in large fraction the research and development efforts for drug companies around the world by the higher prices that we pay. With this new order, Europe will share the burden of that. And in fact, if you may think of it as like as somehow it's like it's going after drug companies, actually it's helping drug companies. Because what we're also going to do with this order, what President Trump has done with this order, is he's said to European governments, look, if you are taking advantage of the drug companies by forcing them to charge very, very low prices, we're going to defend American drug companies in Europe. At the same time, we're standing up for the American consumer who's been paying far too high prices for far too long. I can go back decades to point to congressional report after government report after government report of tremendously high drug prices, much higher than the rest of the world, and nothing has been done about it until this moment. And I'm really, really proud, President Trump, that you've done this, and I'm really proud to be included in this, and looking forward to the work ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the many doctors I've talked to about this very issue, thank you for taking the bull by the horns. Presidents on both sides of the aisle have talked about this and floated it and said they wanted to do it, so you've had the courage to do it. Thank you. I've been a surgical oncologist at Johns Hopkins for 22 years, and I have seen patients suffer. We didn't take an oath to heal patients and then watch their life get ruined financially, with their home, mortgage, retirement, going down the drain with GoFundMe campaigns, raising money from church communities and synagogues and friends they haven't seen in 20 years to try to raise money for what? For a system where Americans have been getting ripped off by 10, 12, 15 times higher prices than we see in other countries. The fundamental problem in healthcare is that we've had non-competitive markets. We can do little things around the edges, or we can transform those markets to competitive markets, and that's what this executive order does today. Imagine buying a Ford for $175,000, a regular car, and then hearing that people in London are buying it for $10,000 every day, all day long. That is the craziness of this system. We're going to do everything we can at the FDA to support this executive order. It's transformative. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So thank you very much, everybody. It's I think it's a very important day in many ways. We'll start with the Houthis. We go to Pakistan and India. We go to what we did with China, the trade deal, and with UK. And by the way, many other deals are coming in very much. At a certain point, we'll just set the price because we know where we are. But we'll just set the price. But world trade is going to be terrific, and our country is going to be making a lot of money. Taxes are going to go down. Taxes are going to go down very, very substantially. But you look at all of the things that we've done, and now today I'm heading over. We'll see what we're going to do with respect to Iran. I think you have very good things happening there too, by the way. I think can't have a nuclear weapon, but I think that they are talking intelligently. We're in the midst of talking to them, and they're right now acting very intelligent. We want Iran to be wealthy and wonderful and happy and great, but they can't have a nuclear weapon.
That's
Very
right.
simple. So I think they understand that I mean business, and I think they're being very reasonable thus far. And don't underestimate Thursday in Turkey. President Erdogan is going to be a great host, and we are doing some work with him having to do with Syria too. By the way, we're going to have to make a decision on the sanctions, which we may very well relieve. We may take them off of Syria because we want to give them a fresh start. But President Erdogan's asked me about that. Many people have asked me about that because the way we have them sanctioned, it doesn't really give them much of a start. So we want to see if we can help them out. So we'll make that determination. But I think you're going to have maybe a good meeting. Yeah, but the potential for a good meeting, that a meeting wasn't going to take place. I insisted that that meeting take place. And it is taking place. And I think you may have a good result out of the Thursday meeting in Turkey between Russia and Ukraine.
All right.
And I believe the two leaders were going to be there. I was thinking about flying over. I don't know where I'm going to be on Thursday. I've got so many meetings. But I was thinking about actually flying over there. There's a possibility of it, I guess, if I think things can happen. But we got to get it done. We got to save 5,000 lives a week.
I've never
5,000
seen
lives is
Biden
really more
do
than that.
any of this.
And when you see the,
I've
and you don't
never.
want to see it, but when you see the satellite photographs of the battlefield with arms and legs and heads all over the place, separated by 30 yards from bodies, doesn't make sense. So we're working very hard to see if we can end that bloodbath. Okay, there shouldn't be too many questions. It's been covered pretty well.
Mr. President, thank you for taking questions. Two quick ones for you, starting on trade. If a longer-term deal is not reached with China at the end of these
52.
90 days, can the American people expect those tariffs to go back up to 145%?
No, but they would go up substantially higher. You know, at 145, you're really decoupling because nobody's going to buy. But they can go, they got very high because of additional tariffs I applied during the course because of fentanyl and other things. But no, but they go substantially higher.
And then on Qatar, Mr. President,
I think you will have a deal, however.
you're confident that there will be a deal. On Qatar, has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old.
Crazy.
And take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time. It's not even the same ballgame. You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane. It's like from a different planet. And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now. And we, when I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed, I got the price down much lower. And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. And it ended up being a total mess, a real mess. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind. And they're way behind. They were way behind another mess that I inherited from Biden. And it's going to be a while before we get them. And I think Qatar, who has really, we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety. I think they end very, very nicely, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership and for the leader, Qatar. And I think they knew about it because they buy Boeings. They buy a lot of Boeings.
Don't forget to hit the
And
like,
they knew
share, and
about it.
subscribe.
And they said,
Thank
we
you.
would like to do something, and if we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we
Yeah.
don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll
They
take one
woke up
too.
mad.
And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and others, we keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith. And I don't get it. Someday it'll be like Ronald Reagan. They decommission them. You know, they get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
So, President, on the hostage, you said that the release of the American
Thank you,
hostage,
Leo.
Alexander, is a step in good faith to end this war.
Thank you.
Do you expect any progress or perhaps announcement on ceasefire during your trip to the Middle East?
We hope that we're going to have other hostages released too, as you know. So when I met with the hostages 3 weeks ago that were there for quite a while, you remember the 10 people that came in, mostly young people, 1 or 2 were a little bit older. They were explaining the trials and tribulations. I mean, they went through hell.
Thank you.
And I said, how many are there? They said 59. I said, that's a lot. I didn't realize, because we got a lot out. You know, we got a lot of hostages out, I think you will acknowledge. They said 59, but then they said, they followed that up by saying 59, of which 24 are living, the rest are dead. But the people whose son, mostly son, I think 1 daughter in this case, but mostly sons are there, or husbands are there. Those people want the dead bodies as much as they want the live body. I have a mother that calls me, that came up to me when I first met her, and she said, sir, please get my son out. He's dead, but they have his body. And I asked her about that, and it's as though he were alive. The level of wanting that body back is the same. It couldn't be any more, as though he were alive. So, you know, getting the bodies back is very important. That could be a thing having to do with the religion. It could be sent. I was amazed at the level of importance. It's the same as if the son or husband or whatever was alive. So they said 59. In fact, they came in with a number 59 written out on like a sign on their chest. They came to thank me for getting them out. And I said, what does the 59 mean? They said, well, that means there are 59 people. But then they said, but 24 are living. Now it's 21. The number's 21. So now it's actually, we'll get Etan today. We think we're getting him today. So it's 20. So they have 20 live hostages there. The rest are dead bodies.
Mr. President, are you open to negotiating your tariffs on cars, steel, and aluminum with China or any other country?
Well, we're not even talking about that. We're bringing the car business back into this country. We have commitments, and not only commitments. In cases they've left Canada, they're not going to build in Canada. They're going to build here because we have the market, and the tariffs have been amazing. The election and the tariffs. November 5th was a big day, and on top of that, of course, you wouldn't have the tariffs without the election, I guess, if you look at it. But we have at least 11 committed massive car factories that are going to be built, that are in the process of being built. And some have actually started. We also have renovations of existing factories where they weren't utilizing the full factory from years gone by. And now they're under full renovation. They'll be opening up full factories in a very short period of time. Our car industries, I think we're going to have the #1 industry. You know, if you look at Japan and these others, they do tremendously with cars, and they can do that too. But you know, if they want to sell cars in the United States, they're going to have to build factories in the United States, because I'm interested in cars for the United States. And one other thing is, in our tax bill, we're giving not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, but also we're going to get a deduction for people that borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. If it's not, we have no interest.
Meeting with between President Putin as well as President Zelensky. If President Putin doesn't show up to these talks in person in Turkey, will you join Europe in putting higher sanctions on?
If I felt it would be important toward getting the deal done, I'm the one that insisted on the meeting. They couldn't get a meeting because one said ceasefire, one said no ceasefire. It was going back and forth. I said, look, at this point, we got to stop it. Just go to the meeting. The meeting's been set. Go to the meeting on Thursday. And if I thought it would be helpful, I don't know where I'm going to be at that particular point. I'll be someplace in the Middle East, but I would fly there if I thought it would be helpful. Yeah, please.
Refugees. I want to ask you about South African refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States,
Right.
where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for the hundreds but not others?
Because they're being killed.
They're
And,
not.
We don't want to see people be killed.
They're
Now,
not.
South Africa leadership is coming to see me. I understand
They're
sometimes.
rich. They're
That's
not. That's
And
not
We
true.
were supposed to have a G20 meeting there or something.
It's not
We're
true.
having a G20 meeting. I don't
That's
know how
Elon
we can go
Musk.
Unless that situation
Come on, Trump.
taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place.
That's
and,
a lie.
Farmers
on.
are being killed.
That's a
They
lie.
happen to be white.
That's a
Whether
lie.
they're White or black makes no difference to
Come
me.
on,
White
Trump.
farmers
Stop listening
are
to
being
Elon. He trying to bring
brutally
South
killed,
Africa
and their
here.
land is being confiscated in South Africa.
That's a
And
lie.
The newspapers and the media.
I'm gonna do a
And the television media
live
doesn't even
tonight
talk
about that.
it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care
You
who
shut
they
up.
are. I don't care about their race,
Get off
their
my
color. I
street.
don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything.
It's not
I just
true,
know
Trump. We're gonna
what's
call you out
happening
on
is
this
terrible.
one.
I have people that live in South Africa. They
And
say
we're
it's a
for
terrible
you,
situation
but we're
taking
gonna
place.
speak the truth.
We've essentially extended citizenship to those people and to
All the truth is
escape
gonna
from
come
that
out.
violence and come here. Yeah.
Please. Mr. President, thank you. Are you letting China off the hook for these 90 days?
See,
Do you
all the
really
truth-
believe
truth
that they
will
follow through
manifest.
with non-tariff barriers and remove those?
Non-monetary tariffs, yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to follow through. I think they want it very badly. I think they want the deal very badly. Again, this doesn't include the steel tariffs that I put on a long time ago that Biden tried to get off, but he couldn't get them off because it was too much money. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, which a lot of people don't know, but we put on the tariffs originally. And if I didn't do that, we wouldn't have a steel industry today. Now we have a thriving steel industry. It'll be thriving much more with what we're doing because this is the next level. But it doesn't include that, doesn't include cars, doesn't include pharmaceuticals when we do that. And the reason we're doing that will be to get them to come back in the country. You know, there are, again, I always say it because a lot of people forget, but if a company like Eli Lilly, which is making a massive investment in the United States right now, they're building many, many plants. They've already started like 7 of them, many plants, but they are not going to be tariffed. There's no tariff cost. So they're all doing that. They're all coming back to the United States. I mean, I'll tell you what, I hope I get the benefit of watching this because, as president, because, you know, it takes a little while to do this stuff. And we're doing it early in the administration. If you think of it, we have, I believe, if you look at the real total, it's over $10 trillion committed for plants and factories. Other administrations haven't had $1 trillion over a 4-year period, even over an 8-year period. We have over 10 trillion committed in one form or the other over 2 months. Give me a break. I'm here 3, but let's give me a break on the first month. We want to get acclimated. But if you think about it, it's really 2 months. And so in 2 months, we have an investment already of over $10 trillion. And other presidents haven't had that done over a year, over 4 years in some cases. It's unprecedented. There's never been anything like it. It's a very exciting time in America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Mr. President, are you ready to put sanctions on Russia if Putin doesn't agree with the 30-day
I have a feeling they're going to agree. I do. I have a feeling.
And we see other countries, no European countries, involved, Mr. President, in the negotiations.
The budget bill negotiations are taking place. Who in your administration is in charge of that while you're gone? Is it
Everybody, Bobby, from the standpoint of medical, this group behind me, I mean, I think it's the best group ever assembled. In terms of medical, I think you're going to see a tremendous cut. I don't think, I mean, I know you're going to see it in Medicaid and Medicare. That cut will be massive because drugs are 50-60% of the cost. So Medicaid costs are going down and Medicare costs are going down because of what we're doing today. And there's no, it's not like, oh, gee, well, maybe it won't happen. It's going to happen because the other countries have no choice. Now, the drug companies are going to have to say, listen, if you don't pay more, we're not going to give you the drug, and they're willing to do that. So that's it. They have to, we have to equalize.
Mr. President, what is the price controls?
Say it.
How do you respond to the fact that this?
It's not price control, no. What was, price control was before. If you want to talk about it. Price control is what they were doing. They were making us pay. They set a price, and they said, here's what we're going to pay. And anything else, charge America. Because at that time, they had a very stupid president, and it really went crazy during the last 4 years. And remember this, the Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen.
That's right.
They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system.
We're going to continue to
And
allow
I
it to
think it's going to
happen.
be very hard. You'll have to ask Democrats, are they going to vote against the one great, big, beautiful deal that's being negotiated now, tax cuts, etc. We're now on top of the tax cuts and regulation cuts, all the things. Now you're going to say that the price of your medicine is going down by 60, 70, 80%.
Wow.
You're going to vote against it? I think a lot of Democrats are going to be forced to do something that their leaders are going to beg them not to do, and that's vote for the bill. I don't see how they can vote against it. How can they vote against it when drug prices, drugs and pharmaceuticals are going to be down 70, 80%? It's going to be very interesting.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it
You're
behind?
ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Here is the bill. Bobby, come on over here. Now you're talking about trillions and trillions Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, a quick question about
Thank you very much.
Wow, Trump. You know what? The thing about it is that there's, what is it called? Donald Trump syndrome, or TDS, Trump deranged syndrome. I mean, no matter what he does, it's still all this backlash. Like, I have voted Democratic just about for every president since I've been old enough to vote. And this is the first time that that didn't happen. I voted for Trump because the Democrats were not talking about anything that was going to benefit American people. They ran on abortion, like every American needed an abortion. They were in office for the last 4 years, and they brought nothing to the table except for $7 trillion of debt. In addition, they gave us more debt. They did not do one thing, not one thing, to make it better for Americans. And because of Trump deranged syndrome, no matter what he does, no matter what he says, I can give him credit. I'm not in agreement with everything with anyone. And we call him out. We most definitely going to call the left out because nobody does. Nobody, we're supposed to hold all our elected officials accountable.
You saying we're hilarious, but your party lost the election. So who's the joke now?
Speak, sister. Woohoo. You know, I mean, this is America. We are supposed to hold our elected officials responsible. But why isn't that happening with mainstream media? Why isn't that happening with the left? They gaslighted the American people so much that whatever he does, but they allow a president that was unfit for 4 years, not seen, on vacation 40% of the time, to cost American people billions of dollars, had an incompetent freaking vice president that we found out that she couldn't speak. And that was 3 months before the November the 5th election. And they didn't allow her to speak for 2 months. And she raised $1.5 billion. And they talking about the wealthy. The Democratic Party are the party of the wealthy and not the party of the people. They used to be, but it has changed. It's not the same party of yesteryear.
That was graphic design. He didn't actually dress up like the Pope.
You know, it's amazing. Call people out.
Mountain View, I was the Trump supporter first.
Oh,
dude.
here we go again.
Yeah.
You could go to my previous videos. You could see I have viral videos. You can see me with Biden, presenting Biden a gift to the city. I have selfies with him, with Washington, all of it, Bernie Sanders, everyone. I am a legislative director. I've held big rallies. I've been a speaker at rallies. Getting Democratic elected officials elected into office. So I'm not just a regular voter. This is what I do. I'm an organizer. I'm an activist.
Mom, Carla said a good comment. She said, what other president is head of a crime family?
Yeah. Biden. Biden, and no one calls him out. You have to call people. Why isn't it questioned that a president pardoned his entire family? You only pardon criminals, people that have committed crimes, that you're looking for mercy from the government to pardon them. Why aren't people calling out pardoning his son for 10 years, for God's sakes? Well, how did they make $22 million when their salary, a president's salary is like $240,000 or whatever it is? You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. So it doesn't make any sense, you know, when people aren't calling both out. Now, some of the things Trump say is not entirely true, but it looked like everything the Democrats said, their whole campaign and their whole existence is for illegal immigrants. That's it. That's it.
And abortion.
And abortion. But what about the American people? When has a president taken what Trump did? Do you know that people cannot afford medication? You get a medication, say you have seizures, for example. The medication is $1,000 for one of them. People don't have $1,000 to spend per month on that type of medication. He's talking about now that we've been overcharged, and we're only, but how much of the population, you guys, did he say that Americans are? But we're paying like 2/3 or whatever the numbers. I got to look back at it of the entire cost. We're paying more than everyone else.
I keep seeing people in the chat, such as Mountain View. He seems to be a fan of us. But I saw someone else say this. They're surprised that we didn't vote for the quote-unquote black women, and we're voting for Trump, and we're black people supporting Trump.
You know what? I don't know why people think that people are obligated for 60 years to continue voting for a party that make promises every 4 years and don't do nothing for us. For 60 years, same situations, nothing has changed, no anti-hate crime bill, nothing's being done, just keeping Black Americans suppressed when we spend like over $1 trillion per year into this economy and everything that we offer to the economy, and they want to keep Black people suppressed. Black people get more abortions than anyone else, but then they want people to have babies. So it's they are Black people aren't realizing that Biden was the worst thing that happened to Black people with that 1994 anti-hate crime crime he did it. What was it? 1994 mass incarceration bill. He was the author that caused all these Black men to be removed from families, and then the kids out in the street. When you remove the head of the family, it affects generations. It affects everyone.
To the one guy who keeps saying save Black America from white Americans like Trump, no one can see you keep spamming the same message because it gets filtered out.
But guess what? Save us from the frickin' Democrat Party. They are not about American people. They're not about the illegal immigrants. They are about gaslighting you because they want power. They want votes. This is all about votes and the Benjamins. It's always about power. They don't care about us. When have you heard a Democrat say anything that they were going to do for the American people? And I will wait.
Crystal said a really good message. She said, we need more people like you guys, not afraid to speak the truth, knowing your own friends and family may disagree with you.
They all disagree with us.
Yeah.
They all. And I got my daughter involved, and she's angry right now. She has a high position, in the political party. Her mommy got her interested in politics and stuff. And you might see my daughter running for president one day. And that's the truth, because right now she's a commissioner of a state. So she's doing it. And she's upset because now I am not for the party, because I realized that I put Jesus first. God is first in my life. And I saw that the Democratic Party changed. When I voted the last time for a Democrat in 2020, getting Biden elected, greeting Biden, campaigning, canvassing, phone banking, having groups of people phone banking, calling all over the country, traveling, doing rallies in Washington, the whole 9 yards. And now, 4 years later, no, because it changed. Because once Obama became president, it became the party of LGBTQ. Once Biden became president, it became the Democratic Party became a transgender party and an illegal immigrant party. So they look, the economy went out of sorts, inflation, 2 wars.
Yeah, cyber. And when Biden was president, sleeping was first and America was last.
Never talked to the American people. No transparency, neither a teleprompter or script, had selected reporters to speak to us. The mainstream media did a disservice to us because they don't report all the news. They don't. They have you so focused on hating this man. He just now made deals that we're not going to be paying higher prices for pharmaceuticals.
John.
And maybe you don't need medication,
John.
but there are a lot of Americans that are paying outrageous money for it. And this is a good thing for all of us.
John Brown, well, you clearly didn't listen to not a word she said, because you could look it up for yourself. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were locking Black people up. And Joe Biden's responsible for thousands, if not tens, if not hundreds, if not millions of Black people, Black men getting
and
locked
women
up.
being locked up. He's the author of the 1994
super predators.
Yeah, he called Black men super predators. They're lesser than what?
Beyond rehabilitation.
Yeah, all of that. Don't even rehabilitate them. He didn't want them walk on the street. He was telling judges lock them up, never let them out. They would take someone my son's age, give them 40 years for petty crimes, and somebody else would get probation. This is the injustice that has been doing and still continue to be done to Black Americans.
And that's the one.
So the Democratic Party, they've been in office for 12 of the last 16 years, and they have They have destroyed this country. They have destroyed the Democratic Party. And God is not in abortion. God is not in same-sex marriages. God is not having Resurrection Sunday like Biden did last year. He declared a day of visibility for the transgenders. You know, so I had to look at who am I serving. I don't serve the Republicans or the Democrats. I serve God.
And I'm glad that Gavin Newsom, he had the test done, because Kamala just wanted that guy locked up, throw away the key.
Well, Kamala wanted the guys to be killed. She did the same thing as Biden. She had black men locked up for marijuana, gave them sentenced them because they wanted them to fight wildfires. There was another young black man that was on death row, falsely accused. She wouldn't do the DNA test. She was in court and everything. She wanted to get a notch, because if you get a body, then you can walk around with your chest out. That's what she wanted. But Gavin Newsom, the one good thing he did, he ordered the DNA test, and that finding out that the man, of course, he was innocent. There was another guy. The guy said she never came to court. He kept coming to court for the guy, wanted to lock the guy up forever, I guess. Found out that he's innocent. So these people have been destructive. This Indian woman and the former president of the United States, Biden, they were detrimental to the black community. And we sitting up there, hear this fake Indian woman. What black person have you ever heard in your life talking about they wash collard greens in a bathtub? She tried to talk black, but you're the first politician that was under Indian descent elected to Congress. But then when you want a black vote, now you're black. She's not black because her father live in Jamaica don't make them black. They were still Indian. And look up Candace Owens. She did investigative reporting. She spilled all the beans of who her family really is and all the lies. But it's always about votes. It's always about power. And 93% of black people still went on that same plantation. And what did they promise us? Nothing. Nothing. And what were they going to do for black people? The same thing they've been doing for the last 60 years. Nothing. And we keep on saying, oh, we need this and that. Black people are intelligent, articulate, we're successful, we're leaders, we're professionals, we're entrepreneurs, we're athletes, we're owners of businesses, we're scientists, we're engineers, we're all of the above. We are creative. We're inspiring people. We give America its swag. That's foundational black people. They know us by our swag, by our dance, by our look, by our movement. No. We give the United States its identity culturally.
Not a new thing though, is pinning DEI on us.
And then DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. That's a lie. Black people not the face of it, because black people didn't benefit from DEI. The number one people that ethnic group that benefited from DEI were white women. It was white women. Black people were number 9 on the list. So, but when they want to say DEI higher and all that, they want to show you a black person when we got to be at the top of the class. If you see an astronaut, they got to be at the top of the class. Scientists, top of the class. Wherever it is, pilot, you got to be the top of the class, the best of the best. That's who's in these positions. Okay? But black people are not DEI. And that's come I couldn't wait to run into Target. You got those fake money-hungry leaders like Al Sharpton. They paid him $500,000 to promote for black people to vote for frickin' Kamala, who couldn't even speak. How is she going? What would she have done? How much money? She would have just been, we would be in World War III, and that's the honest to God truth. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted a war, because there's money in war. Zelensky wanted a war, because he wants to remain president. Because once they stop the war, then they can have elections. So it's a lot of politics that's going on. And guess what? This is a house of cards. And as long as we're dumb and we don't see both sides and all the sides, then they're going to continue to gaslight us. Hold everyone accountable. Don't just be mad and angry and listen. I used to listen only to MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, all mainstream media, Rachel Maddow, Morning Joe. I woke up to that. The Today Show, all the talk shows, all of them are liberal. All of them. I was glued in. I thought Trump was Hitler, the worst person ever. Don't let him become president. And he had a better freaking 4 years than Biden did. We didn't have any wars. Economy was great. Inflation was great. Everything was better. Wasn't nobody highlighting no transgender day my Lord and Savior Resurrection Sunday.
America was great then.
Yeah, so it's night and day. But I'm going to call out both sides. Some of the stuff Trump said about South Africa, I'm going to do, you got white people saying how untrue that is. Okay, we're not going to ship out illegals and bring in South Africans because they are white. He got to stay. He can't continue to allow Elon Musk to influence him like that. He can't keep letting that man influence him. They are the richest people in the world, those South white Africans. They still have land. Nobody took land from them, and the only people being killed, as usual, are black people. So that's a farce. That's a lie. That's a lie. But it's all going to come out. What's ever hidden in the dark always comes out in the light. So that's why you got to tell the truth. And you got to do right by people. And Trump got to stop letting this man influence him. That's how people got angry at Trump, that getting rid of all those federal jobs. You can't do a sweep like that because those are lives. Those are families. Those are living wage jobs. They should have took department heads and supervisors and managers, and they should have went and saw where they can downsize. That's how you do it. What could be eliminated and what we need to keep. Not just a sweep saying that no one was needed. That was Elon Musk. Trump didn't run on that. That's him. And now he want to influence this South Africa. Yeah, Trump, let's fly in them. They under suppression. No, they're not. They're some of the richest people in the world that he's trying to fly in. They're not refugees.
They said that people who are black in South Africa only have 5% of the wealth.
Yeah, people in Africa who are the majority only have 5% of the wealth. So that's a lie. You know, tell the truth. This is called Speak the Truth, and we're going to call the truth out on both sides. And we do support Trump, but nobody is perfect, and that's why you got to call people out. But call out everyone. Don't just call out freaking just Trump, and you don't call out AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer. I've been on Zoom calls with Schumer, and I've met all of these people and support them. I'm a legislative director of publications and legislation. So that has been my title. So I am heavily involved, but not now, not on that side. I'm ready to have America First celebration. That's what I want to have because that's what I do. I want American First celebration because 50-51 and hands out, you know, they having their rallies, but they didn't win. Trump is the president of all the people. But when he does something that's great, then give him his credit.
Yeah, I'm in college right now.
Give him his credit. Give him his credit. What did it do? What money? He got $500 billion coming from Apple. He got $500 billion coming from what? Nivea? What is it? The company called? He got $22 billion coming from how? He got trillions of dollars coming in this country. He's cutting waste. Look at the $22 million they was giving to Sesame Street. They was giving millions of dollars to some experiments. I guess trying to make transgender mice.
And something else great that President Trump's also having companies who are overseas moving their companies here.
Yeah, they moving their companies here.
Yeah.
They're doing business here. And if you do business here, then you don't have to deal with the tariffs. I mean, I like that we have a president that instead of taking from the American people and out for game and trying to become wealthy, that they can't buy him. That's why they didn't want him president, because they can't rule over him. Because Biden wasn't a president. You know he wasn't a president. People are ruling over him. He wasn't making the decisions. And I mean, come on now. Y'all saw him. We got to bring up the interviews that they kept saying the man was unfit. And he not that he declined. He was unfit. And that's the truth. That's the truth.
Wow.
But he did a lot of harm was done under his presidency. But everything Trump does, you got something to say. Even the positive.
People freaking died because of Joe Biden being president.
Yeah, 13 of our military men and women that he wouldn't even acknowledge died with that jacked up that jacked up retreat that they did in Afghanistan, leaving hundreds of billions of dollars worth of our equipment, that Iran was like, thank you, this is a new day, it's a video, thank you. Why would we hightail out of there when we are the most powerful nation in the world? That's how jacked up that administration was. People was getting out of the military. We're the most powerful in the world. Why are we running? We don't run. We walk. We ran. Come on now. And it's all right welcoming people into this country, but not 14 million homeless people at one time when we're $36 trillion worth of debt. Our kids, this country wouldn't even survive when it's their time to become successful. It would be no America. They were destroying this country. We can't keep amassing debt like this, and Trump is attacking the debt, and it's a hard thing to do. And nobody else would do it. So what are the Democrats' ideas? What are they doing to bring money into this country? What are they doing to create jobs for you? What are they doing about healthcare? Did they go and make deals to lower pharmaceutical prices? Are they bringing jobs? You know what they're doing? They're fighting for illegals who have been convicted for heinous crimes. Every one of them. Starting with Kilmar Garcia. What is that freaking congressman doing over in El Salvador when this man was sent back home? He get due process home. He's home. That doesn't make any sense. But he had two of his constituents that lost their life brutally in his states. Yeah. And he didn't even reach out to the families. And he's over there because they want to become president. This is all a power grab.
Can someone in the chat, like you spawn, you got a lot to say. Can someone, at least one person in the chat, tell me why did Joe Biden bring in millions of illegal immigrants to America?
But they didn't have a problem with what's his name? Bill Clinton. He deported. Where was the due process for Bill? There was a due process coming into the country, but they need due process criminals to leave the country. Y'all sound...
Yeah, no money for vets, plenty of money for illegal immigrants.
Trump had to redirect. They didn't redirect money for migrants because you got vets living on the streets. Vets are on the streets.
Yeah, J-Bone says because they wanted more money by getting illegal immigrants here.
They wanted votes. They are burdened. They wanted votes. It's not about money because it's costing us $570 billion just for them being here. They're not bringing that. It's not no money they making up. They taking American jobs. Are you kidding me?
Edwards said it's due to population decline, which I
it's
never
due
heard
to
before.
votes. If they don't care, it's about votes. They want power. If they allow them to vote, because they already can see they can't win, because most of us, we see them, but a lot of people still don't see that it's a house of cards going on. But if they allow to vote, then they can retain power for years to come. That's what because they can tell, look what we did for you. We gave you luxury apartments. We gave you $3,500 a month EBT cards. We gave you $20,000 a year of government, whatever. They gave them Social Security, Medicare, education, phones, cars. They don't even have to show a license like you have to fly. Matter of fact, they didn't even have to take because they running people because they can't drive.
They can't even speak English.
They gave them everything. Yeah, and what did they do for Americans that are on the street? Not a damn thing.
Yeah, they're agreeing to you.
Not a damn. Be real. Come on, there got to be some truth in y'all because this is called Speak the Truth 2.0. And that's what we're going to do. The good and the bad. And we're not one-sided, but this is the truth for God's sake.
Erica Hannibal, that's our biggest fan. But Samantha said illegal immigrants do not get benefits.
They do. Where have you been? Go to the Social Security office and see who's getting benefits. It's already been proven. They allowed millions of them to vote in our last election. They were given Social Security cards 5 months, a lot of them after they got here.
Yeah. And Hannibal said, even with Obama and Clinton, we must do due process. It was always due process.
It didn't happen. Well, we're going to pay more money to get them out? Are you kidding? We're not going to survive. We're not going to pay more money to get them out. They got due process in their own country. That's where their due process, where they from. Send them back. And then Trump said, use the app. They had an app to come in. Trump now got an app for them to leave.
Yes.
Let them use the freaking app.
Yes,
okay?
Samantha might be a illegal immigrant. Now she's saying illegal immigrants and immigrants play a key role in our economy because they do pay into the economy. They do pay taxes through a TIN number.
No, you know what? The little few that you talk about don't pay half enough of what we are giving out. What we're giving out is no comparison. We made it before them and we make it after them. They are costing us. They're not making up a trillions of dollars worth of debt that they're going to cause us. And then let's not forget about all the crime that's going on. The heinous crimes. They're fighting to keep the worst of the worst here. Even other illegal migrants are afraid of them, don't want them here. But you got these politicians, they supposed to be working for us. Us. Not everyone else. They're supposed to be working for the United States citizens. That's who they're supposed to be working for. They handling stuff that we didn't ask for. Did we ask them to open up our borders like this and give us this damn problem?
Yeah,
Did we ask them to open up our borders and allow everyone to flood in? Did we ask them to do that?
And two things, that they're not coming here. These illegal immigrants that we're seeing are not coming here with the American dream. That's one thing. They have a out there mindset. And another thing is I heard that they emptied out their prisons and sent them over here.
Yeah, Venezuela empty out their prisons, their mental institutions. We got all of them. We got 54,000 Chinese men that came in. Men. Nobody says anything about them. You don't even see them, right? Where are they? They said they asked them, they go to a camp. You know that the Chinese, they have farms and they have different structures set up next to our military bases. Why? They're buying up America. There's a lot of stuff that's going on that we're clueless, because the big dogs, they got a lot of stuff that's going on that we don't have a clue to how. Like China, anytime they want to, they could break down our infrastructure. You know?
And why did Joe Biden not do anything about that balloon? That was
the balloon. They getting all the intelligence they want, just flying over our country. Never shot it down. They know where every military base, where all our plants are, everything. Allow them to do that. And none of them shot it. Trump would have went up there with a rifle himself and shot it down. Okay? How dumb were those people in office? They destroyed this country.
Thanks, J-Bone. He said,
what?
He said, this white guy loves you. Boom. He's speaking the truth. I gotta go. New York, Trump country.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. We love you as well. But you know what? But we gotta look at it. We are just part of that chessboard, you know, and we got to know what's going on. We have to know what's going on.
What is the game plan of the Democrats? What's the
game plan? The game plan was to destroy this country, keep gaslighting us, and we don't make them do anything. They're not made to do anything for us. They get up there, and as long everything they say, Trump name is leading. That's it. Yeah. That's all they got to do.
Like he said, when Kamala was running, it was her saying everything Trump didn't do when he wasn't president.
Trump wasn't even president. Like you would think Trump was the president that caused all this. Trump is actually trying to do the most he can in 4 years to get us on our feet. And that's not enough time to do what he needs to do. Yeah. But that's why he doesn't waste any time. Every moment, every minute, every hour, every day, Trump is working because he knows time is running out for us. And we can't see it.
Spawn said, well, he's been against this the whole time. He said, what has Trump done that has benefited America in the last 100 days?
You have to be sleeping under a rock. He gives you know who's transparent, and even his cabinet, you know who's been given meetings every day and allowing you even to be a part of the executive board. Let's start with the border. Did you hear about, you know about the border, right? Let's start with the border. The border that millions, at least 14 million or more have came across, including 350 terrorists, 15,000 rapists, 13,000 convicted murderers, 350,000 children are missing, fentanyl, cartel, you know, everything that was coming into this country, along with all these people that we are responsible for taking care of them, irregardless what they have done. And he closed the border. Like 99% of the border is closed now. Let's start with Biden said he could do it. Biden was selling the wall before Trump came back into office.
Now I'm on an article from CBS News. You guys can look it up yourself if you want to. It says that illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border are down 94% from last year, and that's what the Border Patrol chief said.
So that's what he's done. Let's start with that.
And men and women's sports.
And how about declaring two genders? How about keeping men and boys out of women's sports, out their locker rooms, out the bathrooms? There's no such thing as trans. Those are men who want you men to call them women. But God decided what a woman was since the beginning of time. That's the one that gave birth to y'all. That's what a woman is. And they still can't tell you what a woman is. Is that crazy? That you're dealing with crazy people. You got, since the beginning of time, God's made woman. And now these people can't define what a woman. They're gonna look at a man that's 6'5" with balls and a penis and say that he's a woman and put him in a locker room with your daughters, undressing. And everybody supposed to act like that's a woman. Those are gay men who now want to have sex with straight men, but they want that straight man to look at them as a woman because they say they are. That's how crazy it escalated to.
Look at how they're trying to change like a woman's title now to like birth giver.
Yeah. Inseminator or whatever. You know, they can't do that. They can't. It's only two genders. That's what Trump did. He had to make it law. Man, two genders, male and female. When you born in the hospital, the doctor don't say male, female, trans, bisexual. All this stuff is sexual. He don't say all that non-binary. He says boy or girl. Cisgender. It's boy or girl.
That's not a word. Cisgender.
Boy or girl. They don't look at that baby. Oh, you're a cisgender, or you're bi, or you're a trans, or you're gay. There's no such thing as that. That's what this world does.
He just got off the.
Yeah, he just got off the airplane. Let's see. I think he's going to fly overseas.
Mr. President!
If they do, they're abomination. Yeah, gangster Trump. I am so glad that, so we could go on and on. Trump only been in office for not even 3 months. And what he has done? How much money has he brought into this country in deals? How he stopped them from manufacturing electric cars in Mexico being funded through China. I mean, look at he's bringing back our auto industry in Detroit, Michigan. You know, look at the things he's doing. But closing the border is a big deal that they kept open for over 4 years, and he did it in a matter of a month, 2 months. Come on now.
Samantha, then you've been totally just ignoring the different news sources and information out there, because Biden nearly obliterated this country. Trump has done things to try to fix what Biden has done. What did Kamala say? What was is now.
What is, will never be, would never.
Yeah.
They like that.
Samantha said, I'll just read what she said. She said, "You guys only say Trump been in office for a certain amount of days.
It's true.
When it's Trump, but when it's Biden, it's all hell in the first day he's in office."
What did he do in his? What did he do in his 4 years? Let's talk about what Biden did for his 4 years to this country. Let's talk about what Biden did for the American people. Let's talk about what Kamala did for the American people. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Trump don't take a salary. There's only been 2 presidents in history that didn't take a salary. He's one of them. He don't get paid for this, all this aggravation.
Samantha, you're not looking at facts. If you actually believe that Biden did better as president than Trump, who's been in office for just 100 days.
But you have to explain that. We want to hear all the great things that Biden did for the American people, other than the $7 trillion additional debt they gave us. Or giving the Taliban since 2021 $40 million cash payment per week. Why? The Taliban is getting 40 million cash, so you can't trace cash payment per week.
And Endor said something funny. They said Kamala drank, laughed, drank.
Yeah. Every time she come on, she drunk, and they don't say nothing about that. They don't say anything about the condition mentally of these people. Don't worry, that's what Speak the Truth 2.0 is about. Because we're gonna agree to disagree. We're gonna tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. We're gonna speak the truth. We are not gonna divert from that.
Endor's funny.
What?
Now they said Biden sleep, ice cream sleep.
That's what he's done. It wasn't required of him to be president. It wasn't required of him. They had the electronic pen, that auto pen, and they signed whatever they want to sign. But they destroyed this country, but those high egg prices, the gas, inflation, the economy, they didn't run on that. Why didn't they run on their record? Why didn't they say, look at how well we did? Look at the interest rate. It's 2.9. Look at this. Look at that. They didn't mention it. They ran on abortion. They're going to have at the Democratic National Convention conference, they're going to have Planned Parenthood giving out abortions at a convention? Really? That's what they offered the American people? How many men get abortions? That's what they ran on. Talking about women's rights, but women have a right not to have men in women's sports. Women have a right to go in the bathroom and the dude not in there. Woman has a right to go to the spa and this man is not undressing in the ladies' room. Yeah, women have those. They didn't talk about women's rights. Women getting concussions, getting beat up. Men are beating women in sports. Say they cycling. One man, the best woman competitor, she was 5 hours behind the man. 5 hours. But if he was in a man's sport, they say he'd be number 12. See, they don't want to go up against real men like they are, because they can't win. But a woman, they can beat a woman. Because they have the bone density, they have the lung capacity, they're stronger, they're bigger, they're men. They're men. Women can't compete against men. Can't compete again because they're not men. But those are men. And then the man, he gets on there and he just did a track meet. He's 6'5". They all are tall. 6'5", 200 pounds, 280, whatever. And they get on there telling me, oh, I don't know how I did it. I just trained a little bit, but somehow I just jumped better than I ever had before. Oh, they do all that. We don't even talk like that.
Yeah, look at the grown man Riley Gaines had to swim against.
She had what was his name? I can't who
Leah
Riley
Thomas?
Yeah, Leah Thomas. 6'5". Here go another 6'5". He not competing against men. He competing against women. And they giving these men look like men, stand like a man, probably smell like a man, is a man. And we all supposed to be delusion in their delusion. They don't want to accept what they are, but we're supposed to accept what they are not. How crazy do we have to be? And I don't blame them. It's the people that go along with the emperor has new clothes on. If you know the story, kept telling the emperor, "Oh, you look great. You look nice." He naked. People just lying.
Well, Blue Pit, that's not true because I'm in college and I play college sports. So I am playing sports.
So, call both sides out. What have the Democrats done for? And don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. I know we've had thousands of people on here. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell.
They do. They have men boxing women is what they do.
Men boxing women, giving women
hit so hard.
It gave her probably traumatic brain injuries, probably what she got from that. And the one that got the concussion or whatever, and she's suffering from some stroke or whatever. The man hit her so hard. These men are literally abusing women, and people are still like,
they want more of it
because Trump deranged syndrome. Yeah. All they have to have is the news saying that he the boogeyman, that this guy. But no matter what he's doing, and Trump is pushing forward. He doesn't care what you say. Trump is moving forward, and he's doing more than anybody else has done for this country.
Yeah, Fish Guru. They said everybody's talking about Hannibal. They say Hannibal repeat. Yeah, Hannibal repeats MSNBC. And Victoria said Hannibal sounds insane.
I already had sent a comment to Hannibal. He too. Yeah, I did too. Earlier, I sent a comment to Hannibal.
Oh, here comes Samantha.
I was like, you mad, bro? Jesus Christ is Lord. Jesus is Lord. That's what
now Samantha is talking about Elon. She said, what does my name or age have to do with anything? LOL, have you guys seen that Doge has lied about how much money they saved?
Have they saved money? Have they saved money? That's their biggest downfall, is that they didn't save as much as they predicted to save, but they did save money. That they did save money, that they did save money. One thing about it is that the truth hurts, and I think like online people get emboldened to say all kinds of stuff out of both sides of their ears. But you know the truth when you hear it. You can be in denial all you want to, but you need to broaden your news channels and news media, because that's what I had to do.
Right.
I had to do the same thing because I was a diehard fan of all of the left stream media, all of it. I'm
gonna read Outlaw's comment in Door. Outlaw said Hannibal is day down, and Endor said you're on point, my sister and Lord.
Thank you. Jesus is Lord and Christ is King.
Kamala don't like that.
That we have to stand on business. And God said that you're the light of the world, city set in the hills should not be hidden. So you have to let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. We're Christian first. We don't serve man, we serve God. And what we say on here is giving honor to God, because it's such a rarity that people don't know how to accept it when people are actually speaking truth to them. And you know it because you can feel it in your spirit. You know when you're being played.
Here we go. You want to explain this to them? Someone said separation from church and state.
They could say it all. But they're referring to a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1802 to Dansbury's Baptist Church, saying that the government will have no part. Like, you could practice your religion without government interference. So that's where that saying or whatever came from, separation of church and state.
It actually was a good thing.
But the only time the government would interfere, I guess, with any kind of church practices, if they say they're sacrificing children, if they're doing things up to the extreme.
Oh, that's the best you got, Dev, with people say all the time and you just repeating what you're hearing off of TV.
But we're not the state, and we're not the church. We are. This is live content, so we don't have to
Yeah.
separate separation of church and state. But I just explained where that came from. You can look it up, and we've shown this. We've had it on this show. We've done a whole video on that. That statement itself.
Samantha, I still haven't seen a comment from you why the Democrats are better.
What have they done for the American people?
Yeah.
What have the Democrats done for the American people other than opening up the borders, high inflation, the terrible economy, allow men and women sports, same-sex marriages, transgender visibility day on Resurrection Sunday? That's Easter for those who don't know. So, we could go on and on. What have they done for American people? Because the only people I hear them talk about right now in the present are illegal immigrants. I don't hear them saying anything about Americans.
Dev, you tell me, why did Joe Biden pardon his entire family for 10 plus years?
Are they going to answer why did Biden pardon his entire family? Talking about a criminal family. You pardon people that committed crimes. He pardoned his family, entire family, the president. If Trump did anything like that, oh my God, I think they would hear about it in Mars.
To the Democrats in here, do you want a man in the bathroom with your daughter, if you have a daughter or sister or mother or aunt? Is that what you prefer? Or do you
Thank you, Nicole. I mean, I want the Democrats. Why did Biden have to pardon his entire family? Now, when you pardon people because they had committed crimes, hideous crimes. I mean, crimes that could really give them a lot of time in jail. So why did he have to pardon his entire family? Why did he have to pardon his son Hunter for 10 years for previous, I guess, criminal actions? And then he said he never was with President Xi, but then they produced pictures with Hunter Biden with President Xi. The laptop didn't exist, and the laptop does exist. I mean, why did he pardon? Why isn't that news?
Now you're talking about January 6th.
Why isn't that news? Why isn't that news? And Nancy Pelosi, at the end of the day, if y'all really want to know what happened, Trump had asked Nancy Pelosi because she had to order the National Guard there. Trump requested the National Guard to be there prior to January 6th. And she had to own up to it. It was on Nancy Pelosi to make that happen. And she neglected to do that because if Trump was responsible, they would have locked him up for that as well. And y'all know it.
Now, this is what Samantha said to when I asked. Finally someone said something. Democrat said something. But when I asked, "Are you okay with a man being in the bathroom with your daughter?" Now Samantha replying to that said, "No, I don't want a man in the restroom with my daughter."
With you.
I'll stop right there. But she also said, "And I don't believe that is happening on such a wide scale like you guys claim."
If it happens at all, isn't that too much? If it happens at all, it is happening. But if it happens at all, it's okay. You know how many men saw their little girls going in the bathroom and they had to pull them out? It's on YouTube and stuff. Fathers, they like, oh, hell to the no. Okay, it's happening. You don't think that men are disrobing with these young girls and the whole full-fledged man, instead of at least giving him his own private closet to disrobe, he got them in the women, and they're chastising the women for not wanting to take their clothes off in front of this man?
Fish guru, that has nothing to do with anything.
So
now Samantha is saying she's going around the debate. She's saying it is my job as a mom to protect my daughter, not anybody else in that restroom.
How are you going to protect her? Is your job. Why would you have to protect her if a man wasn't in there? What you telling me is your job? You protecting her is making sure it doesn't happen in the first place.
Exactly.
That's how you protect her. You protect her by getting. You should have been getting on them freaking Democratic leaders saying you're not down with that. You don't want men in the women's restrooms. You don't want these boys competing against your daughter. You don't want your daughter having to take her clothes off in front of these guys. And they do get people pregnant. Just in case you didn't know that. They still men. Put them in jail. They put them in women prisons. They getting women pregnant. Okay, so they are men.
Okay, Edward and Parallel, I'll reply to you right now. To Edward, to your comment, it doesn't matter if one man is in the bathroom
That's
with
right.
a woman. It is completely wrong and disgusting.
And these are adults. The adults you got to explain this
And
to.
that's all I'll say to you, Edward. In Parallel said, I'll just read it out loud. She said, what about a trans man going into the woman's bathroom?
And what is he? Look, he's a man. He want to be a man, then he's a man, right? Y'all say he a man, or is a trans man a woman? I mean, y'all got to decide. What is a trans? So, if we're going to talk about trans, what is a trans? You said, what about a trans man want to go in the bathroom? Then that trans in front of it doesn't make a difference. That's still a woman, right?
Thank you, Victoria.
That's a woman. Just like a trans woman is a man. It's still a man. That trans that they put in front of it, that there's no such thing as trans, because it's not a doctor that can recreate a human. It's not a doctor that will ever be able to do what God only
Parallel,
can do.
you probably are trans, Parallel.
Only God can decide what sex. Man can't. Man is. Oh, he could cut it off. He can sew it up. He can mutilate you and shorten your lifespan and put you on medication and be in pain for the rest of your natural born life, but they cannot change your sex.
God bless you, Nicole.
They can't change your sex. It's all about a money grab. Like, hey, doctors, they have no morals these days. They like, look, look, come on in. You want to bring your child in here and ruin that child for life.
Finally, someone with common sense in the chat. They said, I ain't letting nobody go in the bathroom with my daughter. That's not a biological woman. And Endor said, no one. Exactly.
There's only two genders. And why did you need a president that have to tell you people that it's two genders? They don't do that anywhere else except the United States of America. Got to tell us it's two genders.
Well, Spawn, to educate you on this topic you clearly know nothing about. There's something that some scientists, not all, but some scientists believe, and when they talk about God, they refer to him as an intelligent designer. So there's that. And also, I'll say Albert Einstein was a Catholic, and Nikola Tesla believed in God and talked about God multiple times. You can look it up. So science and God can be with each other. It's not two different things, unless you're an atheist, but you probably are.
God is the creator. There is only one God, and we serve our Lord and Savior, and man can never be God. Man can't recreate the human body. Do you know what the human body consists of? All the cells and veins, and I mean, you could just look at biology. Our bodies are even made to heal themselves. We don't need medications. Our bodies are really made to heal itself. God gave us the nutrients and the foods and the environments and everything so that we can. The way that God designed the body, only God can.
Samantha,
if you do what He can do.
Samantha, you're saying you believe in God, then how are you with the Democratic Party? Like, I just want to hear that answer, because they do everything the opposite of God.
God is not in it.
Yeah, Joe Biden had Day of Visibility on Day of Resurrection. So
Resurrection Sunday, God is not there. The Democratic Party, and I did. You can look at one of my videos, maybe a month or half ago, that the Democratic Party is not the same party yesteryear. It changed. When Obama came into office, he wasn't a president for Black people. He was a president he started this LGBTQ, same-sex marriages, men and women sports. He's the father of the LGBTQ, and then his vice president followed, like after Trump was president, following him, he's the president of transgender, and they have the audacity to act like they can compare it to what black people went through in this country. Is no comparison. No comparison. You know, these people are making decisions. We were born like this. We are born your race or your ethnicity, your skin color. And I love it. I absolutely wouldn't want. God is so amazing. And it goes by where you live at, the climate, the sun. And that's why in the sometimes you have people that are white, they could get as dark as me. I've seen some darker or whatever. You know, it's the sun determines your pigmentation. I love that we have melanin in our skin. I love that God made us different. That makes us interesting, that we're not all the same. We all have our values that we offer to society. And that's something that we should cherish and be thankful for. Love who you are. I have never wanted to be anything other than black. I never desired. I love how God made me, and you should love how God made you. Be the best person that you are, what you can be. That's what you should do. I walk into a room or whatever, I get respect because I demand respect. You know, you have to be confident in who you are. And God made us all special. And for those who don't understand that there's no all white section in heaven, or black, or Asian, or Native American, or Latino. God made us in his image. We all, it's not a color scheme. We all have the same organs, brains, fingers, toes, lungs. There's no different what's inside of us. No difference. But we have come, the society has come to define some way to separate us instead of us making a better world for everyone. And I think America focuses too much on that versus, and that's what I liked about even the best thing I think that happened to us was the boards because it brought Americans together as one. It brought black, white, indigenous, Asian, Latinos, so forth. It brought us all together as Americans. And we voted on one nation under God as Americans. And that's something to be proud about. We all had the same goal. The same goal. And that was to get this man in office. Same goal. And that's a beautiful thing. And if you don't like who the president is, you can vote. We're going to vote again in 4 years. But meanwhile, support him and help him do his job. What you don't like, call him out. What you do like, give him credit, for God's sakes. Give him some credit. What credit can you give Biden and Kamala? They just was president like 3 months ago or a few months ago. They've been in charge. You know, give credit where credit is due. Be man or woman enough to take the time, like I had to do. Listen to other. What I like about the time we're living in is that we have the internet. There's so many content creators. You have people that know skin in the game. Like Jordan, look at Jordan Cash. He's in New York. He be telling me what's going on. You know, the crisis that they're in New York. There's people with boots on the grounds like Nick Shirley. All these different people. They're doing amazing jobs. People on Twitter, that's now known as X or whatever, that's on there. You know, listen to Fox News. I would never listen to Fox News because they not all right all the time. I get problems sometimes with them. But at least they more fair with their perspective when it comes to Trump. You know, broaden your horizons so that you can have more of a viewpoint. I had needed to expand my viewpoints because I was only being fed just the left mainstream media news. That's it. And I thought Trump was Hitler. I thought Trump was this. I thought Trump was going to, you know, do all these negative things, especially to black people and all this kind of stuff. He's racist. He's this and that. I find the Democratic Party been more racist than frickin' the Republicans. Democratic Party was the ones that started Ku Klux Klan. And only thing they have done is keep black people suppressed. What happened to, I fought for Biden to get elected because he had promised an anti-hate crime bill. John Lewis bill, George Floyd bill, never happened. You know who got a bill? People didn't put it in office, the Asians. So as they were attacked, they get an anti-hate crime bill. So all they do is make promises, but they don't keep it. Trump made promises. Guess what? He's a man of his word because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He's doing it. He's doing it. And guess what? Whether you like it or not, he's doing things to make this country better for all of us. All of us. All of us. I know about single. Yeah. So we got to be thankful, stand on business. And with this channel, like the reason why I even started, I said they're going to blame Trump for everything that they have done. Everything. They're going to put it on him. They were putting on him and he wasn't even president. He could run on his record. They couldn't run on their record. Don't that tell you something? Come on, even the slowest person in the room can see that. But call them out. You know what it was to go against the Democratic Party when you're a leader? I'm a leader. I have people calling like, you're going to join us in rallies. I'm an organizer. That's what I do. Those big rallies, that's what I do. I enjoy doing that. I'm an activist. And I'm like, I'm not, I have their cell phone numbers, they have mine. So I'm talking about senators, Congress people in authority. I couldn't. I was like MIA all day. Trump. No, not this time. I got a video. It went viral. I think it's up to like 1,200,000, whatever, have viewed that video. No, Trump. Because I needed someone that I could follow. I can't follow a fool. I can't follow people that make promises and they're not doing anything for us. They're gaslighting us. They're not working for us. They're working against us. It's nothing. For everyone that's on here that's part of the Democratic Party, and y'all still want to keep us separate instead of us having one president and one nation under God. For those of you that want to listen to Rachel Maddow and Morning Joe and Meet the Press and MSNBC and CNN and all of my used to be favorite newscasters, all of them. Watch how many times they speak about what they're going to do for us, American people. Just us. Any of them. AOC, Jasmine, Hakeem Jeffrey, Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, you name it. Kamala, listen to what they talk about and how many times do they speak about what they're going to do for the American people. Are they trying to lower drug prices? Trump has like one of the biggest deals to lower prescriptions. They never did this. This is huge. Well, Trump is like, why are we paying? He's a money man. Why are we paying 100 times more than other countries when we have less of a population and they paying $250, say UK, for their medication, the same medication, but we paying $1,600. Make that make sense. Come on now. That's for the GED section. It doesn't make any sense. It's just sad that we so one-sided and they got this TDS going on, Trump deranged syndrome, that people don't even want to hear the truth. Which are they fighting for you? What are they saying to improve your lives? Are they trying to lower the economy? Are they trying to lower interest rates? Are they providing more housing? Are they giving you the same benefits they're giving illegal immigrants? Because are they giving it to our vets? No. Were they trying to give housing to our vets? No. To our homeless Americans? Did they put them first? No. The illegal immigrants were stepping over our American citizens that's living on the street. They can't get food. They wasn't getting housing, nothing. And y'all good with that. And I thought the money wasn't there. I would see people homeless, whatever, If I would go into a city and I give to them because they got to eat every day. I don't worry about what they do with the money. If they need shoes and I say don't have, I buy them. If they cold, come into my office. You know, you gotta, but I didn't know that the money was there. But now we can open up borders and we're bringing in 14 million homeless people and providing for them and not for our own citizens. You know, that's insanity. That's insanity. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, you guys, and the notification bell. Appreciate it. God bless all of you guys. But we got to start. I put this out there so that we can communicate, so we can think. This is just sowing seeds that, like, listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to who they talk about. See if they're talking about you, what they're going to do for you. Just take the time to actually just listen and see who are they talking about. And listen to see, are they talking about jobs for you? Are they talking about lowering interest rates? Are they talking about inflation? What are they talking about for you? Did they talk about closing the borders? Did they talk about lowering prescription drugs drastically? Did they talk about all these businesses coming into the United States to do business with us? Do they talk about how they could bring money into this country? What are they talking about for American citizens? Because the only thing I hear them talking about is illegal immigrants all the time. I mean, when do they talk about us? We voted those people into office. So they're supposed to be working for us, all of us. How come they're not held to any standard? You need to ask yourself. This is just so, ask yourself. When you listen to Meet the Press or any commentator, Rachel Baldock, all of them, when you listen to Morning Joe, all of them, when you listen to them, listen to what they're talking about, what they're going to do for Americans. What are they doing for us? Just listen to them. See if they're fighting for you. Because what they fight is for illegal immigrants, men and women's sports, same-sex marriages, abortion. Maybe that's your agenda. Because I don't hear them talking about making it better for us. Maybe you have. Their whole conversation is Donald Trump, period, no matter what he does. He can cure cancer, and they talk about whatever he does. Like what he did today is monumental, what he's done with this prescription thing, what's been happening to Americans all these years to lower drug prices. You know how many Americans are on prescription medicine? It costs thousands of dollars a month for their prescriptions. They got to decide whether they're going to buy the prescription or eat. It's a big deal. It's a tremendous deal. But I want you guys to take a look at that. Check, put them in check. Just start listening like I had to do. What are they talking about? What are they saying? Are they benefiting you? What are they doing for you? And that's what you need to do. So anyway, you guys, don't forget let's get the likes up to 100. We should have 1,000 likes, actually. We're going to have to find a way to get thousands of likes because we be having thousands of people at the end of the day that's really on here. Don't let those numbers fool you, but we should be having thousands of likes, thousands of subscribers that's coming in. We should have actually 100,000 subscribers, and that's not a hard task for us. So we're going to start working on that. But let's at least get it up to 100. And I want to thank you guys for coming on. And where are you guys from? Okay, Long County. Where are you guys from? Where are you watching from before we jump off? We have anybody outside the country watching us? Oh, you are a fan, aren't you? You come on here all the time. Yeah, you gotta speak stuff in existence. We could do it. We most definitely get 100,000 subscribers. It's going to happen. Oh, well, that's shooting it too low. We're going to have 1 million subscribers. How about that? I think that sounds better. Let's put a time, say by the end of the year. You know, you want to put those goals so you have challenges in life. Chicago. Okay, Nevada. Okay, so we have Chicago. UK, okay. UK, Georgia. God bless all of you. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. London, okay. Alabama. Oh, yeah, I forgot the Democratic Party. They had the lowest approval rating in the history. What is it? Someone said 21% approval rating. I forgot about their approval rating. And they got diehard people. But I don't know how they have diehards when the majority of people don't approve of them.
Oh, someone wrote a list of things Biden has done.
What was it? What he's done to the country? What he's done to the country? He destroyed this country. Don't forget to put on that list $7 trillion worth of debt when we already had $36 trillion debt. Somebody has to deal with it. No other president. You think Kamala was going to deal with the $36 trillion debt? Nobody was dealing with it.
It's March, yeah, thanks to, because Joe Biden's economy was great, right?
They love that high inflation
grocery
economy.
Prices were the best.
They were,
How much were
look,
eggs?
people your age couldn't even buy a house. Nobody could buy houses. Oh, yeah, that
How
interest
much were
rate.
eggs?
Like $10. Yeah, we appreciate it all. Yeah, that is high now after Biden. Exactly. You think after 100 days?
100 days.
Yeah. You think that it's not? Yeah, it's high because it's still going to continue to climb, and that's why Trump he's working it. Just waiting. See, we got to give him and then judge. But one thing about it, he's most definitely bringing jobs here. He's most definitely bringing money into this country. He's most definitely having people like, you want to do business with us, you got to buy our products. I mean, it should have been like that. And why are we paying 170 countries, we pay tariffs to? Why are we paying higher prices than the rest of the world? We're the United States of America. How they played us like this? I didn't even know we were being played. Y'all should be happy that Trump they were paying these crazy prices without taxpayer dollars, and we're being played by the world. They used us.
It's March. Why are you such a supporter of Joe Biden and Kamala? I just want to, just asking. Look at this.
It's okay. They delusion. He ain't been in office that long. Biden, they didn't care that Biden was on vacation for 40% of his presidency, costing us billions of dollars. But that was never news. He wasn't even being president. It's just amazing. It's okay not to hold people accountable.
It's March. Supports Biden.
The market is unstable now, but that too will pass. You got to do business. I want a leader. I want him to be hardball. I want Trump to stand on business. Go Trump. Stand on business.
Spawn, how was the economy last time Trump was president?
Hey, Outlaw, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Edward, you could look what we're saying up.
Google it. Look it up. Go to your favorite news stations is not going to tell you the truth because there's no truth in them. They already have shown that they give 90% of negative news on Trump.
Look at this. Been in office for 100 days.
Yeah, it's understandable because Trump is making moves. He making money moves. That's why Trump is making money moves. He's making money moves. And that's what happened. He's shaking everything up. And guess what? When it's all said and done, we're gonna be standing taller, and we're gonna be richer and more invested, and people are investing in our country. How about that? See, if you don't make a move, things keep going, continue the way that they are, we're crashing and burning. Do y'all know $36 trillion we crashing and burning? Do y'all understand that?
Comprehend it.
And then we're gonna bring 14 million homeless people into the country that we have to take care of. They didn't do us a darn favor. That that crushed us, and we still not taking care of Americans. How did they become a priority over American citizens? How did that happen?
So it's March. You think Jasmine Crockett and AOC is a better choice?
Oh yeah, go ahead, AOC. And she has the worst borough in the freaking country, the Bronx. Those people are crashing and burning her constituents to put her in office. It's horrible, and she's not fighting for them. Her town hall was for illegal immigrants, not the people that are suffering. Look up what's going on in AOC district. Terrible. I mean, just look at what's going on. That's all. It's all on the news. Some of the news stations. That's why you have to hear from other news programs. You can't just listen to MSNBC and CNN and all the news programs. You gotta listen to everybody. That's what we do. We put Ford News on. We put everyone on.
Now, it's March said that AOC and Jasmine Crockett is better than Mug. I believe I know who she's talking about, but I'm not sure if I do.
Better.
Now she said they look at you and hate you, and yet you love them. You're talking about Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, Biden really hated us. He wanted to lock us all up.
Didn't they make the KKK too?
Yeah. He said, look, black men, they super predators. That's why people, it's funny how, like, if a black person walk in the store, if you want to steal any other ethnicity, you could just take the whole store because they're going to keep eyes on us, and we're not even trying to go in there and steal. So, this is how it is, but that's Joe Biden. When they have a false narrative on the people, this is not the 1960s and all that. It's not like that. Opportunity is out here for all of us, and we are extremely intelligent people. We come from intelligence. Take people out of their native land and their native language and put them somewhere else where nobody can communicate, and then you don't give them education. So they could pull themselves up by the bootstrings. But even in spite of that, you look at all the accomplishments that black people have contributed to this country, let alone building it for free labor. So you can't take that away from foundational black Americans. We have been extremely impactful, to this country and help making it into a great nation. And guess what? We are educated. We're doctors, lawyers, we're department heads, we're executives, we are multi-millionaires and billionaires. There's so many millionaires that are black and billionaires that are black and people that are contributing to society. I mean, that goes without saying. So, but we need to get off of that one-way thinking that we only vote Democrats. For Democratic Party that's not doing anything for us. We need to vote for policy, and we need to vote for people that's for all the people. The Democratic Party is not for black people. That's a illusion. They're trying to they're not for us. But we need to get the memo. Because we're listening to people that are lying to us about what they have done nothing for us. And we need to get the memo. They're not for the black community. And they don't have to do anything for our votes because they know it's a voting bloc that's going to keep voting for them, no matter what. And then when they see black people who don't vote in that direction, that actually understands that this is a house of cards that's going on and see through the gaslighting, then they have a problem with that. Like, how dare you not vote for the Democrats? Like they're our savior. We only have one savior, and that's Jesus. Okay? So we're going to stand 10 toes down for what's right. We're going to stand 10 toes down for what's right. Thank you, Outlaw. We're going to stand 10 toes down for what's right. And
Mr. Loud.
Go ahead.
You want to go?
No, go ahead.
Mr. Loud, then how can you say that when Trump is literally putting his life on the line being president? People have tried to take him out. Someone just tried recently too.
It's in Massachusetts where they took someone to trial
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is definitely not doing this for himself.
No.
How much hate he's getting too. People used to just love
and
Trump.
He's the only president that lost money being in office. The rest of them became multimillionaires. How come all the Democratic Congress people salaries like $172,000, whatever, and they all multimillionaires? Have y'all asked yourself how are they? Who are they? What they lobbyists or the people who giving them this money?
Love you too. See ya.
You know. I think when people start seeing the results, because we like microwave results, and Trump is giving us results every day. Unlike the Democrats, they're not doing nothing for us. When we start seeing the impact and it's getting better for all Americans, then what are they going to talk about then? When they can't talk about Trump and they have to address the American people. What are they going to say then when the things and the tariffs and all this stuff is working out for our good? What are they going to say then? What are they going to talk about then when you're doing better? What are they going to say then when Trump is turning this all around? What are they going to say then? He already closed the borders. Are they talking about that? You know how big of a deal that is? That's huge. They're not talking about the borders being closed. Trump even told in an interview with Meet the Press, I forget her name, total Trump hater. Like he said, how come you don't talk about the borders, what I've done with the borders? How come you don't even start with that? And she's like, yeah, you're right, Mr. President. And what about the illegal? Like, why are you not talking about the borders? Oh, my Cash App? I think Elijah put it in, what is it?
It's in the description.
You can put it in, I don't really.
Oh, your phone's on there.
Isn't you put it in Elijah give it to you. He put it, I don't know, in the description. I don't even know it.
It's Cindy Diamond Jewel.
It's Cindy Diamond Jewel. It's my Cash App. Cindy Diamond Jewel. You know I'm a jewel. Diamond Jewel? Cindy Diamond Jewel is my Cash App. But anyway, God is so good, and we got to be thankful, and we got to just seek truth. God said, whatever you do, seek truth. Seek truth, seek peace, but that's what you have to do. You have to seek these things. And that's what we're doing. We just want the truth. That's what Speak the Truth 2.0 is about. It's about speaking the truth. And we like the pushback. We want you to enlighten us. We want you to communicate with us. We want all these things, and that's what makes it interesting, because then you could see how people think in different opinions. This is our opinion and our truth. And we're talking from the heart. It's like we're giving you all we have. And we're going to stand on the truth. And we're not going to be in bubble land and la la land. And we're going to call it like it see it. I know traditionally black people supposed to be Democrats. I'm not about it, because they're not about God. And I had to look at it and I'm like, darn, they done changed. God is not in that. He's not in that. And Kamala even said, go to that little rally down the street when they were saying Christ is King and Jesus is Lord. That's the only time she talked without a teleprompter. She said, oh, you need to go to that little rally down the street. So Jesus wasn't welcome there. And that's all they said was Christ is King and Jesus is Lord. And that stopped that enemy in his tracks.
Yeah, Outlaw said Donald Trump did more positive things in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. That's the truth. The truth is the truth. And he's had more. Have y'all ever witnessed a cabinet meeting? No one has ever done that. Trump allowed the American people in the world into a cabinet meetings, and he see how I'm used to sitting on an executive board, and we sit around the table like that. That's an executive board meeting. And you go around, you give an account of what you've done, what you accomplished, and what's going on in your department. That's outstanding for you to be able to be let into the room. And then he allowed the reporters to come into the room, no teleprompters, no scripts, and allow them to ask questions. And they thirsty as crap now. But when Biden was in office, no questions, no, they weren't asking anything. Only a few selected approved questions were allowed for Biden, and that's it.
It's something that
Crazy.
everybody here should be
That's
happy about. Is this country finally got its respect back?
yeah, that's true.
That's
That
a big thing.
true that right. True that we got respect. They were talking about laughing. You don't think they were laughing at Biden?
He was in the corner. Biden was in the corner. They taking a picture.
They even left them out when they did the summit in Brazil. I think it was the Summit 20. I'm not sure. And the president of the United States not in the picture. He next to a palm tree somewhere, and they laughing. And here you got President Xi, like he the big dog on campus. He's standing where the president must be standing, our president. And then the reporter's like, "What about the president?" And they laugh, and they all leaving the stage laughing like, "Look, that was a joke to the world." And then they finally had to bring him back and position him to be in the picture. Come on now, be real.
I
saw that on live.
Iva said, which I'll reply to. She said, I don't know if I should read this out loud.
Yeah, well, read it for yourself.
Yeah, I'll just reply to it that it really depends on, I don't know how I should put this. Really depends on how the person was raised, honestly. And a lot of the community doesn't have fathers. And a lot get different personalities because they don't have the raised with a man and a woman. So it really depends on how the person is raised.
Well, it's like you can read it like she said she always found it difficult for them to get. Black people don't have Black people are loving people. We've been abused, tormented, mistreated, unlawfully, and we still show love, so you said that you find it hard to believe. Like you're saying you should ask your Black friends how their character, judge a person by their character. I don't have anything against Black Americans. I've had friendships, acquaintances before, and probably on your jobs, because everybody's on the job, but always found it difficult for them to get along. Only a few nowadays, no disrespect. You know what? It's like the journey. It's the journey that particular Black person has been on, because Black people will give you love and respect, but sometimes it's not reciprocated. You're already judged. If you walk into a room, I don't care if you pull up in a Rolls Royce and got $1 million worth of diamonds around your neck. The disrespect going into a store, just assuming, even being super wealthy, that you're going to take something. Or you could move in a neighborhood and have Caucasian neighbors, but somehow you're viewed like you want something they have, and you could be doing a lot better, and still view as a threat just for the color of your skin. And because of the news highlight this negative, just like they do Trump with Black people. The news has been successful as always highlighting Black people in a negative light, whereas Black people don't commit the most crimes, but they're most arrested for the slightest thing, and that's how it is. So Black people are loving and caring, but society, like, let a Black person get pulled over, especially a Black young man, you don't know if you're going to make it out alive because of a tail light. Not you're a criminal. You know how many Black people have been killed, handcuffed, and face on the ground, that have been talking about they fear for their life and they handcuffed? But white people can have swords, rifles, guns pointing at them, and they can arrest them without incident. So it's been we're sometimes leery about who we associate with.
I mean,
because there is racism. There is a such thing as discrimination that goes on, and all people, people do it.
To the one comment, I mean, you could look at President Trump. You could look this up, but his First Step Act, him giving millions to HBCUs, what he did for Black History Month. There's many examples you can see why Black people, or some Black people, support Trump.
But the thing about it, Black people need to know what he's done,
Yeah.
and Black people need to know what's been done against them by the Democratic Party. And we were in the dark. We don't know about the 1994 crime bill that Biden was the author of and caused mass incarceration of Black men. If you take the head of the household and the mom has to work 2 jobs because she got to take care of the kids, that means the streets are their parents, and they want those LeBrons, they wanted the Jordans, they want the money, the jewelry, and the wealth, and they have them doing things to get them locked up. And then the judges, with the 1994 crime bill, this child that did this because they didn't have a father. A father is the staple of the family. A father makes a difference. You remove the father out of the household, it's impactful, to a negative impact for the children. And that's what happened to Black communities. And he knew what he was doing, when you do things like that. And so now, these kids are being raised, and then the judges take and they give them 30 years. They just throw out numbers like it's nothing. Take their whole youth, take their whole life. And then they come out, they don't teach them skills. Like even El Salvador, like that president, he has a freaking rehabilitation for people to, I guess, do lesser crimes or whatever, but they're learning how to do CPR and make things. I mean, it's amazing what you can do, so that when they come out, they be a positive to society. And then they allow men to be abused and raped in these prisons. Like there's no law against them. Nobody fights for what's happening to them in prisons. That means, like, against the law, crime shouldn't be done to anyone. Not even to them, because they're already there paying the price for their crime. So you see some that's being handcuffed and they're killing them. The guards, the prison guards, they're paying for their crime and they're being killed by guards in prison. So it's a lot of stuff that needs to change. It needs to stop. It needs to change. And when is that going to happen? We need it to stop. Need to stop. Black people bleed the same way. We love and care. Nobody cares deeper because of the color of your skin. That has nothing to do with it. You love your children. We love our children. Everybody love their children, and we love who we are. But a lot's been done to dampen that. And in spite of all that, we still rise. We still are successful. We still are leaders, engineers, doctors, some of the smartest and greatest people. We still are some of the best athletes and some of the best in the world of art, some of the best of everything. So that's what's important. There's a lot of talent that gets put away, a lot of success, but we need to change that. And that's why the judiciary system needs to be revamped, and make it more fair. Don't just lock people up because of the color of their skin at the rate that they do. I shouldn't call the cops and then you got to fear that you might not make it out. Like when you call them for help, and it's because of white person, they think automatically you're the criminal, and it is the other person, the other ethnicity, that's the problem. So things have to change, but I think that we're moving in the right direction. And I believe that we can do it together as one nation. That's why I like that we came together as Americans. It's not Black American, white Americans. Other countries, they don't say in England, Black England, Black England, Indian England. They're from England. And we got to stop like Black American. No, we're Americans. We're Americans. We are Americans. We are Americans. All of us. All of us. Blacks, whites, Latinos, Indian, indigenous, Asians, whatever. We are Americans. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think that right now we need to support one another and hold our elected officials accountable. All of them. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. Stop letting them just talk about Trump. Make them accountable for what they've been hired to do. They're not, and just the other day, where was it at? In New Jersey, Baracus, I think that's his name. He's there at the ICE detention center. If you're worrying about prisons, you got prisons in your state. Are you over there trying to see the conditions of the Americans in those prisons? No, because it's not newsworthy. But y'all fighting and want to push through the gate and everything, going to ICE. What? Because he's running for governor. Everybody's always about power, you guys, and money. They don't care about us. It's all about the votes. It's all about the Benjamins. Oh, thank you. Thank you for wishing me a happy Mother's Day. I had a great time. My son had taken, my daughter was in Minnesota somewhere, and I'm like, okay, you could do whatever you're gonna do next weekend then. But thank you for wishing me a happy Mother's Day. I do appreciate it. But I had a wonderful time. I went to brunch and a live entertainment, and I had so much fun. I did live stream some of it, but it's on my video that I put out yesterday. But I had a great time. I was talking to the band people, getting their cars out. They would serenade me, singing to me. My son didn't like to do much, but hey, that's what's up. And I just had a great time, and so I had a beautiful Mother's Day. I was really happy, and it was so much fun. And so I hope everyone on here had a happy Mother's Day as well. But you don't let, even if my kids, definitely happy Mother's Day. Thank you, you guys. I love y'all. Even if you didn't, what you got to learn, even if people don't celebrate who you are, celebrate yourself. If your kids or whatever didn't wish you a happy Mother's Day, buy yourself some flowers. They discounted today. Get yourself, I got flowers, all that kind of stuff. Buy it yourself. Celebrate yourself. Any holidays come around, your birthday, nobody saying happy. Get yourself a happy birthday card. Take yourself out. Do something for you. Buy yourself something for your birthday. Don't let people decide your joy. Don't let them determine your joy. So I wish everybody on here, thank you guys for wishing me. It's like those words mean a lot to me when people wish you well, like Happy Mother's Day. And I do appreciate it, you guys. And I don't take it lightly. And I want to wish everyone else on here a Happy Mother's Day, and that you're special and you're important and you are a woman. See, ain't no trans. They can't go down to my Happy Mother's Day. See, they not women. They not women. It's your kids that are saying Happy Mother's Day and stuff to you as well. They're celebrating you. So they can't take mothers away. We are so important and we do a great job and we carry a lot of weight. Your mother, your provider, you're everything. Even with your husband or your significant other, if you're in a relationship, you still carry, even with a partner, you carry a lot of the household. You make everything run. You make everything run smoothly. So you are special. Nobody told you you are so special. And we love you for everything you've done, for your family. And sometimes people don't hear that. So just be thankful for everything. But anyway, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. I didn't plan on jumping on as usual. That's why you gotta hit the notification bell, because I don't have a set time. We just come on. I was surprised. I didn't even put a title yesterday and people were on watching. Thank you so much, Outlaw. Love you back. It was great. We were on, yes, I just didn't do a title anything. It's like over 13,000 people jumped on the live. So I was only on like 52 minutes, but it was just such an amazing time yesterday, Mother's Day. And it's special. It's a very special day. Mother's Day is a great holiday and I love it. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. I don't know, we'll be on tonight, but that's why you got to hit the notification bell so you be notified. And don't forget to hit the like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, we want 100,000 subscribers. You gotta put it out there in the airways, because we get, like, just in this month, we had over 1,100,000 viewers in less than 28 days. So we're out there, and we should have 100,000 subscribers. Because like in the last 28 days, over 1.1 million people have viewed us. So anyway, you guys, God bless you. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful day. I got to go and eat. I'm hungry. I just jump on. Then I'm going to the gym so I can work out. I'm off today, and I'm just going to enjoy this beautiful day. I just going to get off.
See you, everyone.
Say God bless. Oh, you're
Bless
still
you.
looking at stuff.
Uh-oh, Spawn's taken up for the Alphabet Club.
It's okay. We ain't got time. There's too
Yeah.
much to go into that. God bless you. We'll pray for you. We will pray for you. That's what we do. We are going to pray for you. And I haven't worked on the channel, but I started another channel. Let's pray about it. That's going to be like stuff that's going on. Don't complain about stuff. Let's pray about it. You got to pray about it. Whatever going on in your children's lives, don't just hand them over to the enemy. Fight for them on your knees. You fight for your kids. Don't give them over to lust or homosexuality, all that stuff. That means you're supposed to roll up your sleeves and you're supposed to go to war for your children, you know. So we're going to do, I'm trying to think of my format. I wrote things down, but I'm going to do, let's pray about it so that we can, you know, we have the victory in everything. We just got to give it to God. So I got to work on that channel. I haven't worked on it.
All
I
right.
did one like little video and that was it.
All right. See everyone.
And I'm going to do a sports channel too because I'm in sports.
Much love. God bless you guys.
God bless you. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell.